William Eggleston, known as the father of color photography, is an American photographer born in Memphis, Tennessee on July 27, 1939. In 1957, he acquired his first camera, a Canon rangefinder. Eggleston was originally inspired by the work of Robert Frank, a photographer from Switzerland, and a French photographer by the name of Henri Cartier-Bresson. He originally did black and white photography, which was the norm for the time. Like seen here in this untitled photograph he took in 1960, you can start to see Eggleston's widely recognizable style of photography. His subject matter almost always has an everyday life feel to them. The composition almost always has the subject in the center of the photo and directly leads the viewer to see it first. The background is generally plain and uninteresting. However, his photographs always seem to have an interpretive or theoretical approach to them, to have the viewer question why he took this photo and what is the meaning behind it. Around this time, color photography was not a common or popular medium for photographs, especially in galleries. Around 1965 and 1966, he started trying color photography. In the early 1970s, Eggleston learned about the dye transfer process. This method of printing is supposed to produce stunning images through high-quality ink and color saturation. Eggleston used this process to create some of his most famous works. Like this image named The Red Ceiling, Eggleston would use the dye transfer printing process to create images with strong and vivid colors. Eggleston is well known for taking simplistic photographs like this one that seem plain, but gives an opening for various interpretations. The stark red color fills the image, which would possibly give different emotions to different viewers. The white wires in the bright red room adds nice contrast and certainly catches the eye. The composition is interesting, with having the viewer look up onto the light bulb on the ceiling and, like his other photographs, the subject of the image tends to be in the center. In 1976, Eggleston's first portfolio, called 14 Pictures, was exhibited at the Museum of Modern Art. This exhibition is regarded as a turning point for color photography, as it was now controversially accepted as an art form for photographs. Eggleston's photographs were very popular in the 1970s, a bit in the 1980s, but are still well known today. He mainly photographs around Memphis, Tennessee, taking pictures of what is typically described as mundane and everyday life. This photograph, known as Untitled Tricycle, or Memphis 1970, is one of his most famous ones, selling for $578,500. It pictures an everyday object, the tricycle, in a rather plain background. Using a low perspective, Eggleston makes the tricycle look much larger than it actually is. The photograph can be seen as both interpretive, allowing the viewer to figure out the meaning, and theoretical, as Eggleston seems to go against what is commonly photographed at the time. My favorite picture of his, seen here, is known as Untitled or Glass on Plane. The lighting coming in from the window creates a beautiful reflection onto the surface. The colors are very vibrant, which is to be expected from an Eggleston photograph. Relatively centering the glass and having it only have the most interesting colors really draws in the viewer. Overall, Eggleston is a significant photographer who went against the grain to bring color photography the attention it deserved. His unique style of capturing an image is easily recognizable, with the subject almost always being everyday life scenes, but somehow drawing in the viewer to question the meaning of the photograph.